Good morning.
Hey, Seattle.
As always, it's your girls, Jasmine and Shantae.
Welcome to another Thursday morning and another episode of The Way with Jazz and Tay.
We'll be bringing you lots of laughs and class to get you ready for the day and the weekend ahead.
Will it be the way or not the way? Find out and join the conversation.
Good morning. Welcome to another Thursday with The Way with Jazz and Tay. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing great.
I'm a little bit flustered because we're having tech difficulties. I am not ready. Let's be honest. I don't have show notes. I'm like, is my mic even on?
Yeah, you're on. You're good.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's get this thing rolling. So today's show, we are going to do our normal weekly recap. Then we're going to get into a new icebreaker called Marooned on an Island. And we're going to do our review of new music and the show Good Girls, followed by our hot topic. And there is a lot going on. So we're going to just give you guys a Seattle current event update.
Yes.
Before we get into all of that good stuff, Jasmine.
Yes.
How has your week been?
My week has been a little bit up and down. Work things have been crazy, but my weekend was pretty nice. It was fun. We had our country's independence. That was interesting. We kind of drove. We went over to my parents' house. We danced. We drank. I had some ribs. And then we went over to my girlfriend Chelsea's house, and she lives over in like the Magnolia neighborhood. They have a view of the Space Needle actually, but there wasn't any shows going on this year because COVID. But it was really nice over there. There was about, I would say maybe a good 8 of us there. They had steak. They had like Spanish corn, Mexican corn, where you like grill it with the cheese and the lime juice and stuff. I had 2 of those. That was really, really good.
I had the steak.
Yeah, she had the steak. I had the corn. But yeah, it was actually a pretty good day. And then we came home.
Sounds delish.
Yeah. We came home and we lit off some fireworks. And that was funny. Well, it was really funny because our neighbors like across the street from us, they were doing the dang thing, okay? Like they had the works.
I mean, I feel like it was the same neighbors from last year too.
Right.
Like that's their standard.
Oh yeah. And so it was just funny because, like, Shantae was the only one that actually went and got fireworks this year, and she got a cute like little pack of like small things.
Look, fireworks shops are overwhelming. There's just so many options. I was like, I either spend $1 million or I just get a few little things because I don't want to burn anything
little
down.
snakes.
No, but it was like. It was really cute. We had a bunch of different stuff that lit off like different colors, and then the grand finale I think was the fun part.
Yeah, I should have bought like 3 of those.
It was like a little box that had like maybe 9 or 10 different things that shot out of it. Yeah.
The big fireworks. I don't remember what it was called.
But it was fun. It was really fun. Like, I've never done that on my own before. So it was really enjoyable. I'm a super jumpy person. So literally at any pop, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? As if it wasn't the 4th of July.
Yeah, you missed out in my area. I went actually with my girlfriend Jessica down to the Bonnie Lake area, and that's they're an unincorporated King County. So it's pretty much they can do whatever they want. It was like a battle between neighborhoods. Like it was unreal. Wow. Oh. And then go ahead. Sorry.
Does it say were they setting off car alarms?
Oh yeah, it was left and right. Like the thing is like they do a little cul-de-sac party. When you drive up and no cars are around, they're all in the street. Right. Because of all the, the after effects and stuff like that. So what was the best part, though, is the neighbor actually, the son is really into drones, launched a drone up in the air and got an aerial shot looking down while the fireworks were going up. Yeah. Super cool, by the way. So y'all missed out where I was. Yeah, it was really dope. It was really cool.
Sorry.
I mean, maybe next year. It's maybe next year.
I mean,
my sister lives out in Bonnie Lake, so.
I was gonna say West Seattle though was pretty active.
Oh, everyone
the West Seattle period. Yeah, it was like you could just see them going off everywhere because they weren't doing them over at South Lake
Right,
Union. So it was like everybody.
Well,
was
there's no
doing
public
fireworks.
events because of what's going on.
Yeah,
so everyone
yeah.
kind of had been holding on to their pennies, I think, a little bit tighter. And they're like, let's just do it.
Let's splurge.
Mhm, totally.
Spend
right?
$500 on fireworks. I could see how one could do it.
It's a lot of sparklers.
Easily.
No, the sparklers are cheap. It's the big stuff. You're looking like, ooh, there's buy one, get one?
For real.
Yes.
We're all over it.
Yeah, I seriously sat there and really was like, do I want to spend that much money on fireworks?
A lot of those places have to get rid of it, though, or they just have to light it off there. They can't keep it. That's what I've heard. But
Oh, really?
That's
you
what
can't
I've
just,
heard.
Keep it throughout the year.
I think there's obviously kind of, since it's technically an explosive, quote unquote.
Yeah.
There's a time limit date on those
It
things
makes
too,
sense.
like
Like
expiration.
storage.
Yeah, storage and all that. So I think
It
they just have to
makes
let it
sense.
all go. Yeah.
What about you, Shantae? How was your last week?
Well, you basically summed up what I was going to talk about.
4th of July.
So, on Sunday, we recorded a very special episode. Well, I guess it's a completely separate podcast called Fine Wine with our friend Marina. What we do with that podcast is we bring females from different creative industries, and we talk to them about, the struggles that they face as a female in the industry, and just in general what the industry is like. And this time around we interviewed models, 3 models in Seattle, and that was a lot of fun. It was also really great to talk to them because it was just really reaffirming that the modeling industry is changing, and you don't have to be a cookie cutter and fit this one shape and size in order to be a model. There's so many different venues out there for people who, if you're interested.
I definitely came out of there like super inspired and feeling kind of reinvigorated and revitalized, and it was really awesome to have their input too. And these models are from like all different walks of life,
different agencies.
Yeah, they found their way, to getting signed all through like different paths and things like that. So it was a really great conversation that we had.
Mm-hmm. So you can check that out on our Facebook if you want to tune in.
Yeah.
But now that we wrapped out our weekly recap, I can't talk today.
Yeah,
I am
smack her in the face a little bit, Jazz. Wake her up. Come on, give her a cup.
Maybe 3 sips of my coffee, and yeah.
And now you don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, get some. New and improved.
I like that.
So we're going to get into our icebreaker, Marooned on an Island.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
So essentially, you are stranded on an island, and you are only allowed to bring 1 music album, and 1 book. What are you bringing, and why?
Dun, dun, dun. I have to think about my book. The book is going to be a tough one, but album-wise, I got so many that come to my mind. I'm thinking like albums that I can listen to through and through multiple times.
Yeah, like over and over, doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm stuck between 2, but that's just age thing.
I don't think that I have a favorite album for me to pick something.
I'm teetering right now on Solange's A Seat at the Table. Yeah, I'm like that's the one that is sticking out to me just because it's a good album for kind of like anything. So like I feel like if you're marooned on an island, you're gonna have your up days, you're gonna have your down days, you're gonna have days where you just want to go a little bit crazy. This album you can listen to for any of those moods.
Dang, that's a good one.
So I think my album, I think I'm gonna go with A Seat at the Table, Solange. Now books, I haven't read a lot lately. I really haven't, and I'm ashamed to say. So I might have to bring it back to like when I was an avid reader, which was like in high school. Shade. I'm embarrassed. I am. I really. But there was
Lord of the
book.
Flies.
No.
Okay.
There was this book that my my English teacher had me read that was outside of like the regular curriculum, just because I was an avid reader and I got through the school curriculum pretty quickly. And so she gave me this book, and I think it was called like the Glass House, and it was like an autobiography type of book, and it was about this lady's story growing up in extreme poverty with her siblings, and I think they grew up in like the Midwest, so they had really cold like winters and things like that. And it was really inspirational for me to like read, because they came from literally nothing. Like they were living in like a house that barely had or working water, any electricity. And she openly talked about the struggles that she had with like her parents and with the siblings and things that happened to their family. And it was really nice to see that vulnerability. And, you know, for me at that age, I don't think I was used to maybe seeing and hearing those types of stories. So I felt really enlightened after that. And I kind of looked like it kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things, I guess you could say. How about you?
Album, I don't really know. I think maybe I'd bring Chris Brown's Heartbreak on a Full Moon, because it has 45 songs on it.
Nice play.
I don't even really like that album.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But there's more choices.
Something like that, where you
That's
can
a
get
good
like
answer.
3 albums in one.
Right. Oh my God, the Dream Menage a Trois. Why didn't I? Nope, I'm sticking with mine.
So that would be my album, just because there's so many songs, and anything that does have that kind of like length would be my choice. Maybe a Michael Jackson album. I'm not sure.
MJ.
And then for the book, I would bring the Holy Bible. Okay, and now
I mean, hey,
again, it's all about the length. That book is a long book,
and the print is small.
I tried reading it as a kid. I was on a mission. I was like, I'm gonna read the whole Bible. I didn't even make a dent. I did not make a dent. So like maybe I revisit that, but then I can interpret it in different ways.
That's
and maybe
true.
If I read it multiple times, I'll get different meanings.
And you know what?
Time.
You might become enlightened on this island.
I think I would.
You might have reach some sense of peace and nirvana and have like a
honestly the mixture of the Bible and Chris Brown is just like
after listening to Heartbreak on a Full Moon, you're gonna need a few chapters of the Bible.
Right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Vinny, what would you bring?
Album, you've touched on Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's kind of like a staple. For me, I know his history now, but the thing is, he's got the history album. That's a good one too. But definitely Michael Jackson. It's either I'm a toss up between the two. So it's that one or Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
Okay.
Just because.
All right, now.
I just I think I wore the CD out. I know it's hard to, but I definitely probably did.
Say that then.
I know.
Okay.
It's just one of those.
You know it
really
front
good.
to back and back to front.
Oh man, flip it, reverse it, over under. It's all done. It's all done.
What about book? What book would you bring?
So I'm not as much of a giant reader like yourselves. I do a lot of reading here with all the new news reports and stuff like that. But if I were, I think I'm kind of falling in the same category as like if I have multiple copies of something, it would be. I grew up doing those choose your own adventure books, and they had multiple in the.
Yes.
So it's like, and each one had a different ending, so that might keep me active for quite a while. And
that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
And if I run out of
used to like
firewood, I
those
could just
ones.
burn a couple of those too.
When touching on those like choose your own ending books, I remember growing up, for me, the ones that we had, I think, were like the Goosebump ones.
Yeah.
You remember Goosebumps?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Goosebumps used to have those like choose your own ending books, and that was really fun.
I liked them.
Well, that was fun. I liked that a lot, and I really am embarrassed about me not reading, so I feel like I might.
I've got a whole library.
You do, and I have actually probably 4 books in queue that I should be reading. So
it's just a matter of chunking out time to
holding myself accountable. Let's do it. Alrighty, guys. So we're gonna jump into our review of the week, but before we do that, we're gonna have a quick 2 to 3 minute break. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Way with Jazz and Tay. All right, guys, welcome back
to another episode of The Way. Before the break, we did our weekly recaps and checked in with you guys, let you guys know what we did this past week, as well as played a new icebreaker called Marooned on an Island.
Yes.
Now let's get into our review of the week. Before we jump into the new music that we've listened to this week, we just want to kind of touch back on last week's reviews. So Jasmine, what happened last week?
Well, last week we talked about CeeLo Green's new album that he put out, and it is called, remember, CeeLo Green is Thomas Calloway. Yes. And it was a whole vibe. It still is a whole vibe. I really like his sound on it. It's very chill. After we talked about him on our episode last week, we actually put him on our story to talk about it and do a poll to see if people thought that it was the way or not the way, encouraging them to listen to it. And he saw that and he put us on his Instagram story.
You're kidding.
Yes.
No,
we are not.
Facts.
He did it twice.
He did it twice.
CeeLo Green.
Shout out to CeeLo. Hook it up.
Yes.
Proud of you, girls. Nice job. Good job.
Thank you.
That's a surprise to me. I didn't even know that.
Yes.
That's
so
sick.
It was so funny because
that's great.
I was downstairs and Shantae was upstairs in here working, and we both saw it at the same time, and we started screaming and shouting, and we were running all over the place. And our other roommate Latia, we screamed her out of a slumber. She was
like, I heard screaming in my dream, and I was like, oh my god, somebody's dying. And we're like, CeeLo Green shared our post.
Yes,
we'll give some love to CeeLo. Give him 1 second right here.
Sitting on the front porch with a cold one in my hand, people watching
like CeeLo Green watching the Jazz and Tay show.
Young couple on the corner looking like forever.
Oh, that is too good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
good.
so glad that you're just as hyped, Benny.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was awesome. So I definitely do encourage you guys to listen to it. Our listeners voted it as the way. So thank you guys for participating, because we definitely thought it was also the way.
Really quick. So also last week we reviewed Megan Thee Stallion's Girl in the Hood. And I put a poll out yesterday on whether or not our listeners thought it was the way or not the way. And the tea is hot because y'all don't like it. And I would be very interested to know why. What is all the hate for Megan coming from?
You want to know what I personally think it is?
What?
I think it's the whole Eazy-E thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really has to do with anything other than that.
I mean, what's the problem?
I feel like maybe they didn't want her to use an Eazy-E song. They felt like maybe somebody else should have, maybe a man.
Like
or
they're stepping on
they're
stepping on a legend's toes.
You know, right?
Well,
yeah. See. I'm putting things out there. Not that this is what
fact.
Yeah, because I like the song personally. It makes me
thought
want to
that
move
was-
my booty. And any song that makes me want to do that is,
I feel like
the way.
that might be the problem, is that it's not the timing for a hot girl summer.
Okay, I
But
guess.
who knows?
All right.
Haters.
Well,
Let's get into some new reviews.
Yes.
So last week we told you guys about a lot of new music that was dropping, some that we hadn't even listened to.
Yeah.
And so we went back and we picked a couple and checked them out. I listened to August Alsina's The Product 3. Overall it was
Yeah. I heard bits and pieces of it, and you said something. You were like, "This is August's new album." And I was like, "Oh, I haven't really been paying attention. It doesn't jump out to me at all."
I feel it's a very consistent trend with the sensual kind of lead in, and it's I don't know. The Perfect Strangers is what I'm playing underneath you guys right now. I feel it's a very new what's his name? Not the Weekend. Khalid or
Khalid.
Yeah.
Yes,
because he's kind of got that slow start in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. That's the song you like. You like that song too, right?
The Perfect Strangers
so
one?
my favorites that I've listened to thus far, it's a 27 song album, so I've not made it through the entire thing.
Oh wow,
so that might be one you're gonna take on your Marooned Island.
Right.
I
That's
do
another one.
I do. So the songs that I like are Perfect Strangers, Rounds, and Be Good. Those are the three that I've heard that jumped out to me. I would say that it's a quintessential August Alsina album. It sounds like all his other music to me. So it's like he's not changed it up. So I guess that's good, but also he hasn't changed it up. So it's like we're listening to the same stuff we were listening to in 2000 and what? When did he come out?
I don't even know.
2012, honestly. 2013. And so it's just kind of like, can we like evolve the sound a little bit? I think he's always a great singer, and I generally like his music, but it's like with all the new music that we've got and like all these different sounding artists, I just need him to kind of change his range, change his vibe. I don't know.
And I feel like, he definitely talked about the whole Jada Pinkett Smith thing just to kind of help add some attention around the fact that he had dropped this new album because maybe it wasn't performing very
like
well.
a trending vibe, like
artists often do that, they
because I didn't really, to be honest, I never really heard much of him until the Jada thing kind of
he
came.
has
like
does he sing that one song I love it, I love it, is that him? No.
His song is Man I Love That.
That's the song
Man I Love
okay
that.
That's the song
but you said I love it, I love it.
I was thinking because I can't say the S word.
Man, I love that ish. Man, I love that ish.
Yeah, okay.
And he has a remix with Chris Brown.
But see, that's the only song of his that really sticks out to me. I'm sure there's others that I know
he's got an album that's pretty good. I love his first album. I love the stuff.
Is it called The Product 1? Or is it just called The Product? Is that the first one? Or is The Product 3 part of something different? Do you know?
I don't follow him that deeply.
Okay, gotcha.
But his first album is really good, and he also has an EP that was put out before that I really like. So like he's got good music. Okay. It's just like I don't think like you have to like August Alsina. He's like an R&B singer for a certain type of person. Okay. And he's not everybody's person.
And I usually like have a soft spot for him just because of everything that
he's been through
and has to go through and stuff like that. So I'm always like praying for his, for his success, I guess you could say.
Right. Outside of August Alsina's album, we checked out Black's EP, 6-piece hot EP. Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yes. 6-piece hot EP. Yep. In that order.
Jasmine, what was your take on this album?
I liked it. It was really short. It's an easy listen. You get through it relatively quickly. Yeah.
What was your favorite song off of it?
My favorite song off of it is Know My Rights with Lil Baby.
The only rapper who can go on the road and don't go with no groupies. If it don't make sense or dollars, I ain't got no time, can't holler. I just got out the plane from Ghana. And my airport closed, they proud of.
I agree. This one's got some pretty good flair to it. I like it.
The beat is good. Yeah. The way that he's writing it's really nice. And so like we kind of talked about Lil Baby last week, and he's featured on this song. I really do like, kind of who he's becoming and the message that he's starting to put out there, and the timing couldn't be more perfect and more in line with what's going on right now in the world. So I definitely feel like it was very it was not tone deaf at all. It was a project that came at a really good time. And I recommend checking out Black, and I recommend checking out Lil Baby. Maybe not some of his first stuff, because I don't know what that stuff's about, but I do know that I've heard a few of his stuff lately that's been right on track with a message that I want to support. What about you? What songs did you like?
I barely listened to it. That's why I had you review it. I listened to the full thing and it was a vibe, but I didn't listen to it and take notes on my faves.
It's a quick listen. It's a very quick listen. It's like six songs.
It was a lot easier to listen to than August Alsina's.
For sure.
I still haven't gotten through that whole thing. I'm just all right, we'll get there when we get there.
Right.
Okay. And we also wanted to review a TV show, you guys, because we made our watch list probably near the beginning of quarantine, maybe mid.
Yeah, mid.
I mean, we don't know it's going to end, so it was probably the beginning. But we made a watch list of like 50 shows that we wanted to watch or that we wanted to catch up on, and Good Girls was one of those shows.
We had watched the first season, but not the second season.
Yes, so we binged that the past like couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we were like, yes, we finished. I wonder if they're going to have a season 3. Only to find out that there's a full season 3 that just ended.
Yeah. And we can't even watch it. We can't even find it to watch. Bless you, girl. Bless you. Look, I'm not the one sneezing this week. I just want to put that
That's how you
there.
know allergy season is in full throttle. Like,
I know. I've heard Shantae sneeze more this week than I think ever, honestly. But yes, so we can't even really watch the full season. The only way that we found it available is on Hulu, and they've got the last like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon Prime for like $24.
And I refuse to pay any money for it outside of the money that I'm already paying for my
subscription.
Yeah.
Right. So we're just gonna have to wait for that to go to Netflix,
which is in January. But a little bit of a review. So season 2, personally for me, I don't need a season 3 or a season 4.
Right.
But all of that's happening. So
wait, they are doing a season 4. It's confirmed.
Yeah, it's renewed for season 4.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I hope season 3 maybe things picked up. I don't know. I'm just really not into this whole like, a stay-at-home mom becoming a crime mob, and then she's trying to become like a leader.
Like she's trying to become a counterfeit money launderer. I want to say like drug leader, but she's not selling.
She's just trying to like clean the money, basically. Like buy stuff with the fake money and turn it into real
cash.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It was an interesting concept in season 1, but like my problem with season 2 is that it seemed the entire time they wanted to get out. Like they were just like, we've gotten in way too deep now. And, like people are getting murdered.
Yes.
And, my kids have seen me do this stuff, and like my husband wants to divorce me.
Yeah.
And I was like, it seems like things aren't going great, and you guys should all just like throw in the towel.
And then the main like redhead wants to just.
Then we come full circle in the season finale, and she's like, we can do this without him. Look, I've made my own. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Right. And literally it's so funny because the way that they react is the same way that we react. Like, are you serious? Like, for real?
But here's what we know. Since there's clearly a season 3 and 4, we know that the other 2 women get on board with it.
Right.
And I'm just disappointed in everybody involved.
I want to talk about my least favorite and my most favorite character. Okay. My least favorite character is going to be the redhead leader. I don't know do you know what her name is? She's in Mad Men. She's, what's her name?
Her name in the show?
Yeah.
Beth.
Yes. Beth. Her name is Beth in the show. I do not like her. I do not like how she has changed, and I get it, it's character development. She's become a little bit more hearted now, whatever, but I just don't like it.
I think that it's like too drastic of a character change.
Yeah, and I don't like the way that she's been treating and talking to her husband, even though he deserves it.
Her husband deserves all the lip, okay?
Even though he deserves it.
Every single. There was like one scene where he was like, I don't teach you how to make the sandwiches with the noses in the eyes, so you should tell me how to. I was like, after that, she should have been asking for a divorce, period.
I'm surprised she didn't hit him.
How did he end up being the one asking for a divorce? No, I want to divorce you.
And then my favorite character is going to be Rio, aka Christopher,
aka
Poppy,
aka Sexy Man.
I'm looking at his photograph right now. I don't see what you see.
You gotta see. Okay, look him up from Good Girls, though.
Usually tend to drive for.
He's saying he doesn't see that would be your type.
Oh, okay, but you just gotta see the way that he acts.
Is it the eyebrow?
It's like
it's the
eyebrows.
Way that
he talks.
It totally is.
And he does this thing where he pushes her hair, the redhead's hair, out of her face.
Look, you both said it.
He like invades her space. Like it's actually kind of like creepy, but because it's him, it's like whoa.
And I feel like his breath smells good, and Anyways, he's a bad guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he is.
But
Maybe you're into
great,
bad boys. That's because you're into bad boys.
He's a great dad. We know that much. He is a great father. We've seen him with his kids, and he's apparently really good in bed because him and Beth went a few rounds. So,
and then she told her husband that. He was like, does he just like support you in ways that I can't? And she's like, no, I just really like to do it with them. And I was like, whoa, the honesty.
So the actor's name is Manny Montana, by the way.
Manny Montana.
Yes.
You know, that sounds like a different kind of name.
He is unfortunately married.
I know, and she's a black woman though.
We
stand him.
Right.
Yeah, no,
we stand him.
Yeah, he's the ally you need. Much respect to them, but hey, he is fine. Fine.
Yeah, your spelling on that was great.
So that's the Way's take on Good Girls. A lot of our other friends really enjoy it, and I'd really like to know what our listeners think about it. If you've seen all of season 3, don't spoil it for us. But just let us know in a general sense. Like, are you looking forward to season 4? Who do you like? Who is your least favorite character, and who's your most favorite?
Yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite character.
Is there anybody that you can't stand?
All of them.
Really?
I don't. All of them annoy
That's bold.
me.
Yeah.
Because
not one.
Ruby acts like she's like so scared to do anything, but will be the first to come up with a half-baked plan to rob a place. And I'm like, Ruby, your husband's a cop. It doesn't work. You also got 2 kids. You should be the last one in this.
Right.
Then there's Beth. She's lost her mind.
Beth is crazy.
She has like some kind of addiction to this stuff. Like she's like, I need the adrenaline rush.
She gets off on it for sure.
Go do Pilates. I don't know. You could find that same kind of kick somewhere else, anywhere else. And then her sister, what's her sister's name?
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
Okay, so I don't remember the sister's name, but I don't like her because she's just a hot mess in general. Like, you sleeping with an FBI agent in the middle of all this is like the last thing that should have happened. Annie. And granted, she didn't know that he was an FBI agent, but she also jumped into everything with him so quick.
Like, she told him all of the tea off top. They had like,
without knowing anything about
They had like one drunken night together, and she was like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable enough to spill all the beans.
Yeah. And he was like living in her house.
These are felonies.
Like, he was like rolling up to her house, and she'd be like on her way out, and she's like, oh, well, you can just stay here. Whole time he's searching the place.
Right. Trying to find anything that he can to set them up. And I'm like,
come on, Annie. Like, I just don't think that any of them should be criminals. Like, they shouldn't be doing this, because I don't think they know how to. And it's also just extremely stressful to watch. I'm like, it's going bad today. But yeah, I don't really care for any of them. Maybe my favorite character is Rio Christopher,
because he's just fun to look at.
Yeah,
I don't like Shaggy.
He's Tende.
He is.
Changed his character. He stayed consistent. He stayed that same dude. Like, he's not. I feel like he hasn't bamboozled them into what it is that they're dealing with. And every time that they're like, well, why aren't you helping us? I'm like, come on, that's not how any of this works.
Right. But then he ends up helping them anyways,
in his own way.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's move along.
Let's go ahead and take another break, and then we'll hop into our hot topic. You guys are listening to The Way. Stay tuned.
I like it too. Your theme music, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're live.
Oh,
welcome back to The Way with Jazz and Tay.
My hands are busy. I can only point to you so many times when you gotta go.
We are live.
I thought we were just dancing to the music.
You can if you want.
Before the break, you guys, we reviewed some new albums from Black as well as August Alsina. You guys should definitely check those out and let us know what you think. We also reviewed season 2 of Good Girls, which, in my opinion, trash, but we're going to see what season 3 has for us.
All the way trash, I guess.
But now let's get into our hot topic. Yes. So our hot topic this week is a Seattle current event update. There's been a lot going on in the city, and we just feel like we need to update our listeners on what's been going on and maybe how we're dealing with all of it.
Yeah, because there's really been a lot, and I can't believe in such a short span of what's been popping off.
I just feel like I said this last night, and I feel like I've been saying this. There's just way too much going on.
Yes,
in general in the world right now, everywhere.
It's only July.
So go ahead, Jazz. What's the first thing that we're gonna talk about?
We're gonna talk about the Women's March. So the Women's March was held over this past weekend.
What was do you remember the specific name of this? Oh.
Sorry, yes. Black Femme March.
Not to be confused with the Women's March in March.
Correct. So the march had been taking place for a while, and these protesters were on I-5, which had actually been shut down every night since like the protest had been starting in Seattle from I don't know what hours or whatever, but it had been a thing that had been going on. Okay, so it wasn't like it was a surprise that I-5 was being closed from certain hours each night. Okay. They were peacefully protesting, just as they have been, and I-5 had even been barricaded by the police and everything. Okay, mm-hmm. So it was organized and calm and everything. During this march, unfortunately, somebody had managed.
And this was when?
Well, this was the
past weekend.
This was the Friday before the 4th of July.
Okay,
that this happened. So July 3rd.
The 3rd, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And somebody had gone on I-5 the wrong way and had managed to bypass the barricades and barrel themselves through a crowd of protesters, hitting 2 people, critically injuring one, and actually killing the other. And it was actually really tragic. I unfortunately saw the video, and I'm sure many of you have, but it was really horrifying to see, and I can't even imagine what they were going through and what their families are going through. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Summer Taylor. She was a 23-year-old activist who actually passed away. She was the one that passed away from the injuries she sustained in this accident. And Diaz Love, the family of you, I send you guys my thoughts and prayers as well, because you guys are survivors, and I really pray for a speedy recovery for you guys. But none of this was provoked. None of it was warranted. They can't seem to find a motive behind why the person did this.
Wrong place, wrong time.
And they actually tried to keep going after the fact. They weren't stopped immediately after. They made it, I guess, a few
down to like the Edgar Martinez exit.
Yeah,
just a couple miles down.
Yeah, so just really tragic that they decided to make that decision to leave after making this terrible decision. So the fight continues, honestly.
And he has been arrested, and he is being held on $1.2 million bail.
Sorry, yes.
As well.
Very important fact as well. He has been apprehended.
They also said that there's no, he wasn't inebriated. So, that's not a factor at play either.
Right, which is why they're saying they can't figure out the motive or what drove him to do that.
I feel like it was just a tragic accident. Yeah, I just really wish that, I don't know, I just really don't understand why he was going so fast.
That part.
And how he didn't see the protesters.
Anybody, yeah.
He wasn't stopping on brakes. It was he didn't even see him.
And he drove around.
And how could he not? Because there was a ton of them.
And not only the barricade was there as well. There were 2 cars specifically blocking the freeway. So I don't understand.
You went through great lengths to get around onto I-5 the wrong way, and then you killed and injured people. I don't even know how. Again, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of mistakes, and it's I don't even know how you begin to even make that mistake.
Write that out. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how did you not see these people?
Well, he told the authorities, I'm reading the article again too, just to kind of refresh, and it says he'd been working late at his family business and he just wasn't of sound mind, it sounds like, or appears to be. But the thing is like, if you're down there all the time, why were you driving the wrong way? Like, some of those are like clues. Like, if you've been down there, you know which way to go.
Recently.
Well, and you know that the freeway is going to be closed.
And that's
because
even,
it has been.
That's even like with the guy who shot that guy in the arm in Capitol Hill because he said he was trying to see if he could get to work that route. But I'm like, it had been closed down.
And if you worked over there, you would know that.
Yeah. So I don't really understand, like, it's been happening. If you work down there, you should know what's going on daily at that time.
A lot of questions to be still left answered.
So many.
Yeah.
So many.
So prior to that happening on Friday, CHOP was actually shut down and cleared out.
Yep.
Yeah. So
the mayor said no more.
So the CHOP, formerly known as the CHAZ, which CHAZ stands for the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, and CHOP stands for Capitol Hill Organized Protest. So the CHAZ was started June 8th, and it was supposed to be free of cops. It was a free place for people to just come, be themselves, protest, do poetry, sing music, come together as a community and gather, and just be one and talk to each other about what's going on and list out their demands to city officials. However, the area that CHOP was in took over the Capitol Hill precinct. What precinct is that?
Ooh.
The precinct that's in Capitol Hill. And so basically the cops evacuated the precinct and decided that they were going to just let these people, set up CHOP
because they said they feared for their safety, and they feared for
they didn't want retaliation, and they wanted to keep everything as peaceful as possible. And everything was peaceful for a while. However, there were many people who wanted to take advantage of a vulnerable situation.
It's the East precinct. The East.
East. Thank you.
Precinct. Thank you.
I wanted to say West, so I'm glad that you.
Big difference.
Everything for me is always West.
So,
we know Wizard of the Oz, right? And we know how Wizard of the Oz went out.
The CHOP was started June 8th, and on June 20th was the very first shooting. I forgot his last name already, but his first name was Lorenzo, was actually murdered outside of CHOP. He was a 19-year-old male. There's no investigation happening around that murder. They don't really know what happened, who did it.
The police didn't even go
Lorenzo
out there
Anderson?
Lorenzo Anderson.
There you go.
Yeah, Anderson, okay.
But they didn't even collect evidence out there, right?
Yeah, they just kind of let it sit. And so there's no new news surrounding that. And then the second shooting took place June 29th. And that's when police decided, and, Jenny Durkin decided,
enough
this is
enough.
no more. We gotta wrap this up because it's no longer safe.
Yeah.
So CHOP was fully dismantled on July 1st, and they forcibly removed everyone, and anyone who kind of decided they weren't gonna go peacefully was arrested.
Yeah, I think they said 23 arrests or something around that.
And I just want to say, I don't really know how I feel about the whole CHOP situation.
I agree.
I'm a bit biased. I feel like it would have been cool if it worked out, but I also get the city officials. Like, it was extremely dangerous. They were essentially sitting ducks. Sure, they had security that were armed, but it just, I don't know, like in this time where it feels like people are doing stuff out of the norm, it just wasn't safe.
Yeah, I agree. It was the whole vibe around there. My job is in that area, and the whole vibe around there was a little bit different, and kind of eerie, and kind of, I want to say, like tiptoey. Nobody really. If you weren't gonna go and see CHOP or whatever, you avoided the area like a plague. It was kind of like that. It was weird, and we were actually in our office the day that they were taking it down or taking it out, and we could hear, the helicopters, the sirens, you hear people yelling, and it was really weird. I don't want to say it sounded like a war zone, because I know that's a completely different experience. I don't know what that's like, but it was not like nothing that I've ever heard before.
Extremely active.
Yeah, it was very different. Nothing that we're used to experiencing out here. So it was a whole different kind of
a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot to take in. And imagine trying to focus while that's going on just like a couple blocks away from you.
I wouldn't. The last thing we want to bring up before we do our weekly recap,
and very briefly bring up,
Kanye West has decided that he's running for the president in running to be president in 2020. He tweeted out this weekend, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision and building our future. I am running for president of the United States, 2020 vision. Here's what we want to say. Do not fall for it, America.
Do not.
Black America, do not fall for
Please.
it. It's a mess. They're trying to split the vote. It's going to be another 2016 election
where you got people voting for Hillary and you got people voting for Bernie, but you got way more people voting for Trump, and that's how it's going to get. That's how people get reelected. You understand that, right? People that we don't want reelected.
If the vote is split, Trump definitely has a chance at winning this again.
So please think about it. And please, if you can, mute him, block him, so that you don't have to be subjected to what this drama is that he's trying to stir up.
And that's all we're really going to say on it, because it doesn't deserve any time.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go ahead and recap. Shantae, how was our last week? Was it the way or was it not the way?
The way.
Definitely. It was productive, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of got back into our like normal swing of things.
Yeah, almost a weird sense of normalcy.
Marooned on an Island, our icebreaker.
Definitely the way. That was fun. Made me think a little bit, and I'm gonna pick up a book this weekend. I am. I might not read it, but I'm gonna pick it up.
Hey, that's a good start. It's a good start. That's fine.
Review of the week.
Definitely the way. CeeLo Green mentioning us on his Instagram story, not once, but twice.
Very nice, CeeLo.
Yeah.
Definitely the way. Absolutely. Weird.
New music is always the way.
Always.
Definitely check those albums out. Good Girls.
I'm teetering.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the fence.
But Manny Montana.
Yes.
Absolutely the way.
Always the way.
Always. With Good Girls, I feel like I really need to maybe see this season before I can give it an official the way or not the way. But right now, I'm kind of teetering. But yet, I still want to watch it. You know what I mean?
I just want to know what happens next. That's really it. Like, what else can they get into? All of the stuff that's been going on in Seattle, I'm gonna say not the way overall. But I think that Seattle is like one of the best place evers for this movement. And I think that everything is going to be going in a really great direction moving forward.
True.
So
I do. I agree.
I think that these events, sadly, like it sucks that they had to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that hopefully we're going up from here.
You know, it was a historical movement, and I really hope that it wasn't for no reason. I hope that it was for not that.
I definitely think because of what's happened, you know, like Summer Taylor and like the men who were killed at CHOP, just to carry on their legacy or their stories, that we should make actual change happen from that, because it's just not okay to have died in vain.
Not at all.
For this stuff, especially in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
At least not forget.
Corona is still a thing.
And it's kicking it up a notch. And then Kanye running for president.
Definitely not the way.
It's not the way. Don't do it. Don't fall for it.
Never will be the way.
It's a gimmick.
It really is. It's time. He's crazy.
You guys know that he and Trump are friends. Like, he fully supports Trump.
He said I will say that he's recently said that he does not. He no longer supports.
Do we
him.
believe him?
I don't know, girl.
I don't even know that he's mentally like.
Anything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like,
grain of salt.
That's why I want to mute him. You know, I'm like, I just pray for your healing.
Anyway, I could go on about Kanye for days. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We will catch you next Thursday.
Toodaloo. Bye.
Peace.
As always, thank you so much for tuning into The Way. Catch you next week, same time, same place. Follow us on Instagram at @TheWayJasmine and on Twitter at @TheWayJT. Don't be afraid to DM us if you have any questions or suggestions about the show.